welcome to the second half of the season, and what a difficult challenge we have in front of us today. It's a cold, cold evening, and it is going to be a tightrope here in Newton. This is where great racing comes to play, and the Crest Autosport IndyCar Series heads into the second half of its season. I'm Jake Sparey, William Foyle on cameras for this one, bringing you all of the action then of this 12-round championship. And this second half of the season might just be one of the most important ones in Crest Autosport history. Let us take a very, very good look then at our schedule, where we are today, where we are going to be moving over the course of the action that we've got moving forward. We started, of course, all the way back at Homestead, Miami, a full 8 weeks ago, but with Watkins Glen and the week's break, we're now firmly in that second half of the season here at Iowa. Kentucky follows up after that. Laguna Seca will end the Road Cup. And then you've got Gateway, Chicagoland, and then the Indianapolis 100 to end the season off. I want to give a thanks to Apex Tracks, main sponsors here of the Crest Autosport iRacing IndyCar Series. Here they are, motorsport and motor racing circuit wall art racetrack sculpture makers, and they manufacture using Formula One and motorsport inspired rapid prototyping technologies. That goes along with Track Racer, 603 Autosport, Digital Motorsport, Esports Sim, and the GP Box, as well as Uncle Luke's Sign and Sticker Shop, who will be providing plaque prizes for the top 3 drivers in the championship, as well as the winner of the Indianapolis 100 round at the very end of the season. You've got as well, of course, by Apex Tracks, a fabulous prize of those who win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, or win the championship overall, which is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, to pin up on the driver's wall. You've got an opportunity to join in if you haven't already. Even mid-season, you can head over to crestautosport.com/IndyCar, I believe it is, to get yourself in on the action there. But crestautosport.com, absolutely, you can jump in. All drivers get 2 drop rounds. Attendance to all races is not required in order to be competitive in the series. If you are here on Crest Autosport TV, we are live with Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Welcome along. Like, share, subscribe. Goes a long way to getting everything sorted from us. And coming up today, qualifying then on the hour, will be a very good affair. 2 solo laps for each driver, then a 5-minute warm-up, and then 150 laps worth of racing to go today. This is how the championship looks. We put a drop round in for a bit of emphasis. Thijs Barendregt 9 points clear at the top. Between him and Tim Stroh, it has been those two, the kings of the field. Alex Everett, currently 3rd place overall in the championship. He's got a big fight on his hands with the likes of Leonardo Paletta and Ben Bennyworth. You could put Jeremy Pronk in there as well, just on the outskirts of that championship push. Dave Steadman looked like he had the pace for the championship this season. 3 bad results in a row, though, and he has fallen out of contention at this point in time. So a lot of work to be done by a lot of drivers up and down the order, but still a long way to go as we find ourselves here at Iowa. We're not a million miles away, though, from the start of our qualifying. We're about 2.5 minutes away from bringing ourselves into play. Let's take a look, though, at these conditions out here on track, and they are cold here today. The track, 19 degrees. It's actually dropped through practice, which is a cause for concern for everybody. Winds, not much of it, just 8 Ks in from the north, and effectively today they are just dealing with cold conditions and not necessarily the dramas that go around the wind and all the buffeting that's normally here on the oval. So for the likes of Ollie Peters, who you can see on screen, just trying to get this practice going. This is a really short track. This is a 1 miler, which means that with only 1 mile, these laps are going to tick off very quickly. We're expecting high 16s in qualifying and low 17s for the race, but we've been talking about how drivers have been dancing on a tightrope around this place today. The car, you can see it there from Ollie Peters. He got a huge wiggle coming off the 4. It's going to be a fight with the weight jacker on the right rear to work out how much grip you've got, because of course you've got that big banking going through the corners, trying to plant your car in on the circuit, but at the same time you have got yourself all of that trouble when the track effectively drops itself nice. Getting a lap in there, Ollie Peters going third fastest there with that 16.8. That's just a qualifying setup, I'd have thought then, from him. So some good work out there to try and sort things out then for his qualifying. Just give a little thing. Jamie Dory out there in 13th position at the moment. He has definitely been experimenting with trying to find a car that works for him today over the course of this race, and hopefully it will be very good for him as he gets a wiggle and a little tap into the wall. We expect to see quite a bit of that over the course of today. But we've been talking about this. Drivers have been expecting to go maybe 15 laps before the rears have snapped. We haven't really seen many long runs out here in practice, and the issue they're going to be looking at is, well, how many cautions are we going to need today? And it might be a few that get themselves worked out then on circuit. So just keep that in the back of the mind, that it might be a little bit troublesome. Practice just about then to come to a close. There is no more time to figure out what you've got getting ready for qualifying, because now it is all about how you sort yourself out and what you are capable of doing around this very, very fast circuit. In terms of iRacing, this track known a lot more for its racing action in regards to rallycross than it is when it comes to the likes of its oval stuff. But we are in qualifying, and that means that we will go in reverse championship order up through the grid, which will mean first time start this season. He started last season. It's David Whitehouse who's going to be out there trying to champion his way forward in a mock-up Mercedes livery, trying to get the number 77 car moving with as much of a start then as possible. So Whitehouse will make his run then to the green commitment cones. He'll be then allowed to put the power down as gingerly or as aggressively as he possibly likes. Go through the blue lines there, marked by that blue commitment cone there on the inside of the circuit. And then effectively, you've got 2 laps from this point. So get it up to speed and try and get the most that you can. 14 drivers here today looking to give what they want through 1 and 2. And a nice gearing up lap this is going to be. That second lap could be oh so important, right down low through 3 and 4 and making that drive for the opening attempt. That first lap is an 18.258, so this will be the aggressive one. 278 kilometers an hour at slowest through turn 1 and 2. Moving up over 300 Ks and back into 3 and 4, 282 Ks. Trying to put the power down and making the run to the line. 17.652, the opening effort from David Whitehouse. So he will not go any quicker than that with his run, which will now leave the next-gen driver, Jamie Dory, out there on track at this point in time. Dory, of course, at this point in the number 13 machine, made his first start over at Watkins Glen a couple of weeks ago. Will be looking to try and find a little bit of emphasis. He's on his own for the ovals, and the road course not so much. So going through 1 and 2 on his first flying lap. Looking all nice and calm at the moment. 3 and 4, you can see there's next to no wheel movement there by the steering, which tells you he's going quick. 18 flat, the opening time, but now you've got to really gear it up for this second lap. Up there as high as you possibly can, trying to gear it down low. The 3 and 4, car feeling very tight as he runs out of 4, and over the line it's 17.542, so 1/10 and 1/100th faster goes Jamie Dory, which will leave the other Jamie to go out there and try and put a lap down. Someone who has been incredibly good when it's come to qualifying efforts, and that is Jamie Jenkins. The race efforts have been a little bit more of a struggle as he runs right up on the high side, trying to gear up and get some pace here in that 5th gear, the highest gear out there in these machines. You can see it on the Cosworth steering wheel. These Dallara IR18s are menaces to go around these circuits. Again, running that high line, trying to work in the car at over 310 kilometers an hour. It's a 17.558, So very nearly, just by running the high line, went fastest of everyone so far. So he's definitely got some pace. There's Jamie Jenkins moving through. He finds his 6th gear, so you got 6 gears. 5 is the one you normally go to, almost in the wall. It's a 17.235, and that is enough to move almost over 3/10 of a second clear. So that is the new benchmark out there on track. Alfredo Morales has been a little bit hit or miss this season. It's surprising to see him down so far in the order. He has been an incredibly quick driver. He has been an incredibly talented driver, but he has also been the sort of driver which, on his day, he can qualify just as good as anyone else. Moving through 2, and on this very short run back stretch to get to 3 and 4, it's going to be a tough overtaking day today. You're going to have to spend 2, 3, sometimes 5 laps to get it sorted. First lap in is a 16.9 from Alfredo Morales. He goes 3/10 clear of Jamie Jenkins, and that is a huge lap time from the ALP Motorsports Venezuelan, who will move through 3 and 4 and charge for the line for a 16.883, and that just a few hundredths off of what he was able to do in practice. So a great time from Alfredo Morales, who moves himself to the top, and defiantly so, here at Iowa. It's now Steven de Grevelier who will come up next, the Belgian, who is running around in the fluorescent yellow, or yellowy green as it is, of 603 Autosport. We'll be looking at his first lap and trying to put himself, probably 3rd would be where he'd like to be out there at this point in time with what he's capable of doing. Moving around then at the top end of the red, you can see the blue lights on the dash saying, please shift gear for me, please, I want some gear, I want to move down and not blow my engine up. But that's a great time to start for Steven de Grevelier. A 16.985 is 2/10 quicker than anything he managed in practice. Moving through 3 and 4 once again. Can he find an extra 1/10 of a second out of the track? He moves over the line. He does not. He's 5,000 short on that second lap. So de Grevelier surprising out there. And this is the sort of track where drivers are going to be surprising in terms of their pace. Next up, though, is Nigel Stock in the stock racing car. He's been very, very good at the shorter circuits. My mind goes back to the Milwaukee Mile, where he got himself in with a top 5 finish there. So Nigel Stock, this might just be one of the places he does very well at. Moving towards 3 and 4 once again goes the great British driver, number 26, moving through a little wiggle there. Coming through 4, it'll be a 16.971. It's still good enough for second position, but he's just got to keep that car pointed. And if he can, there might be a 10th in it there as he now moves through towards 3 and 4. Absolutely torturing the tyres going through and getting up against the wall. That will invalidate the lap, and that one will not count for Nigel Stock. You can't afford any instant point here in iRacing qualifying sessions, or the lap gets invalidated and Nigel Stock's run is over. Spaniard is up next. The Spaniard, Inigo Mardones for the Necki Racing team, who always love going out, does this team, and finding pretty much anything which is open formula or IndyCar style out there. That's what they love as a team, and let's see what they are capable of. First lap then for Inigo, moving through 1 and 2. He's got the beautiful checkered flag down there by his feet at this point. Moving through 3 and 4, trying to gear this one up. This is going to be a good lap to start. Only a 17.665 though, so bottom of the times at this point here. But you're really seeing a difference between drivers who feel comfortable out there and drivers who do not feel comfortable. You can see Inigo Mardones cannot keep the car in the red, doesn't have the turn in as he goes through. It's a 17.417. It's good enough for 5th place out there with that time. So there's a big difference between what drivers are able to do with the in-car tools. The anti-roll bar and the weight jacker are certainly crucial out there. But Dave Steadman, my, does he need a good break here at this round. Really did not love his last 3 attempts in this series. He was right up there thinking of a championship after the opening round when he picked up the victory overall. But it hasn't been plain sailing for the T&D Racing driver. It's brought back the team's championship interview, and we'll take a look at that after qualifying is scored complete. But Steadman's first lap is a 17.326, good enough for 5th fastest at the moment, a 10th of a second behind Jamie Jenkins in the number 48 machine. Steadman still trying to run that high line, and doing so in 6th gear, maybe gives a little bit more stability through the corners, charges for the line. That's a 17 flat, a 17.042, and that's good enough to move up into 4th place. So a solid qualifying lap then from Dave Steadman, who goes 4th fastest at this moment in time. Ollie Peters, though, is up next, and he had a really good showing, of course, last time out at Watkins Glen. Would love to do so again, the Crest Autosport with Apex Tracks car. And now you have to say, for Ollie Peters, it is time for him to find exactly what car 88 wants. Car number 6 he had last time out. He's back to that traditional 88, and hopefully it gives him a little bit of luck. Little wiggle going through the back end of 2 there. He's going to have to be a little bit concerned about that potentially as he now runs through 3 and 4 and gears up for the big lap, the second lap, 17.684, trying to get some pressure into the tyres and a bit of heat. And now he goes and attacks it in 6th gear, going through now on the backstretch, using all of the road, ducking right down onto that bottom groove, running back up the circuit, driving for the line. Little wiggle as he went for it, but that's enough. 16.834. He's got himself pole at the moment by 0.5 tenth over Alfredo Morales. So a great time by Ollie Peters. He moves himself then up to the very front. It will be the 96 though, who is up next, and this is Ben Bennyworth, who is right up there in the championship, and you can see the lights starting to come on here around this circuit. So this Iowa track, this Iowa Speedway, we are soon going to be getting ourselves towards darkness, and that's going to be a little concerning for drivers as the track will remain cold. But Bennyworth, who has been not the best qualifier in this series, but he has been an amazing driver when it has come to racecraft, and that's why he's in the 3rd place fight for the championship. He crosses the line. First lap is a 17.216. It's good enough for 6th position, and he has a big moment going through 1 and continues through 2 as well, as the car was just trying to step out on him. Ducking down low again, a little bit more planted through 3 and 4. He runs for the line. It's a 16.878. Nevertheless, you'd feel if he wasn't sliding it there through turn 1 and 2, he would have found those 0.04 of a second that would have given pole position at that point. But it's second at the moment for the Prime Motorsport driver, Ben Bennyworth. It will be Leonardo Paletta, though, in this one next. Just 4 drivers left to push forward and get things going. There is Leonardo Paletta out there on track, and Leonardo is going to try and give everything he can in the number 97 ALP machine. Venezuelan, currently living in Italy, making that drive up towards 3 and 4 now here for his opening attempt of 2. Really trying to get as much as he can. You can't afford to slap a wall anywhere you can. 17 flat. First time. It's good enough for 7th position, just behind Dave Steadman, and he goes around. That's what we're talking about. Why drivers are pushing so hard over the course of their laps. It was just a case of trying to fight the limit of grip, and the car just flies around in a way that he wouldn't have been expecting. Not ideal at all, but Leonardo Paletta's qualifying is no better than 7th position, and that was a shocking moment. But now Alex Everett, who won last time out at Watkins Glen, has found the form over the mid part of the season. Has he left it too much to do in the opening part to claw back 30-odd points to Barendregt and Stroh? That's what he'll be thinking of later on in the season. What can I do to claw some points back, consolidate 3rd, and maybe go for 2nd and 1st? First lap, 17.028, good enough for 6th position for car number 2. But Everett, the Welshman, absolutely giving it the beans as he goes now in towards 3 and 4, ducking as low as he possibly can, right up against the apron. Only driver we've seen do that today, and it proves its worth. 16.762. He is clear by 0.07 of a second. It is currently a Crest Autosport with Apex Tracks 1-2. But Mr. Qualifying is up next. Timothy Stroh And this German number 44, arguably the most famous number in motorsport, is now one of the favourites for this qualifying, but he's got to deal with a resurgent Alex Everett. This has got to be an almighty lap by Timothy Stroh if he wants to put this one the way that he knows how. Moving in 6th gear, up on the high side as he looks to try and gear up the second lap only to be the quick one. 305 Ks as he was going around the top side of the circuit. 17.3 on that first gear up is good enough for 10th if this lap falls away. Nice and low through 1 and 2. He will drive to 3 and 4. And Timothy Stroh really ducking down, same way that Everett did, pushing over towards the line. 16.714. He found half a 10th on the lap. Stroh is an absolute qualifying machine, but he's still got the reigning champion to hold on to yet. So hold on to your hat. Thijs Barendregt, reigning champion, championship leader, basic racing team. He's got some work to do. And a 16.714 is the fastest time we have seen throughout any of the sessions so far. Moving up on the high side. He'll be gearing up for one final lap through the second attempt. So this first one will just be about getting up to speed for Thijs Barendregt. The second one is going to be the all-important. He struggles a little bit out of the corner. 17.5, only good enough for the 12th position out there. Through he goes again, a little bit tentatively. Goes Thijs Barendregt. What will he be able to manage running the middle groove? This doesn't look like a pole time. Where is it going to put him? 16.888. It is 6th position for Thijs Barendregt. He'll be in the middle of the pack. And that will put an end to qualifying here at the Iowa Speedway. This is how they are all going to stack up then. It will be car number 44 who will put it on the pole position. It will be Timothy Stroh who gets himself sorted, a 16.714. Half a 10th clear of Alex Everett. It is very rare that you get to hear and see that. And it's Ollie Peters who will start in 3rd. His best start since last season and Phoenix. It will be Ben Bennyworth going in 4th with Alfredo Morales 5th and the championship leader and the reigning champion Thijs Barendregt in position number 6. You've got Nigel Stott, great qualifying from him in 7th. Same as well for Stephen de Grevelier. He'll go from 8th. Following that will be Dave Steadman. And on top of that, Leonardo Paletta. Jamie Jenkins will go in 11th with Inigo Mardones 12th. Jamie Dory will go from 13th position. And then rounding out then the top 14 overall will be David Whitehouse. So that will be where everyone is going to try and put themselves in. We're going to mark qualifying then as closed. And then once our qualifying then has got itself into a position, we're going to move over to a 5-minute warm-up and then head ourselves over towards racing action. So there is still a whole heap of a lot to keep in mind, but there is the qualifying results as confirmed up there on screen for you. Timothy Stroh once again putting himself up in pole position with a wonderful time on the books. And then you got the likes of Everett, Peters and Bennyworth behind, who are going to be very much worth the weight in gold. Alfredo Morales 5th, Thijs Barendregt in 6th. And watch out for the likes of Steadman and Paletta, 9th, 10th, and Jamie Jenkins in 11th. This is not going to be an easy ride of things here today. So, with that in mind, all drivers now in the warm-up. That is a spinning ALP machine. That's Alfredo Morales finding himself going around. So a little bit of a cause for concern. But the one thing we haven't yet done over the course of today is talk Teams Championship. So let's get the Teams Championships up here for you. It's T&D Racing, 221 points clear at the moment at the front. They've had a massive gap since the beginning, but this is the closest that this gap has been since week 1 of the championship. A gap of 19 points to the Crest Autosport with Apex Tracks team on 202. We've got ALP on 160, 603 Autosport on 118, Next Gen Racing on 14, but we believe they'll be moved to the single teams championship with the fact that their second driver is only going to be running the road courses over the course of this season. So, here we are then, in the warm-up. It's 150 laps today, which could go by as quickly as 45 minutes. But what it could also do is go by as slowly as an hour and a half, depending on how many cautions we have today. Just 14 drivers on track, yes, but you do get that one fast repair here in this series. That gives so much opportunity if you had a moment in the race to get yourself sorted and get yourself back out there again. It can always be very daunting to go out and race and have that fun and then have the worry, of course, of throwing the race away in the opening few laps, or even in an incident that wasn't your fault. It can very easily happen. So it's going to be all about what can you do in these opening stages of these races. This is going to be about getting yourself into position quickly and making sure you can make the pass. It's going to be a tough day for passing. You don't have much straight to get yourself alongside, so you're going to have to be aggressive through the corners and working with that dirty air just to try and make something happen. And taking a look there from Timothy Stroh, I just had to pass one stricken vehicle there. That was Thijs Barendregt, who was absolutely totaled going onto the front stretch. So that would have been a little bit of a cause of concern. It was a huge accident with Dave Stedman actually there. So a lot of drivers are going to have to be very alert. This is a small oval by every stretch of the imagination, so there isn't much room to really move somewhere else if something goes wrong. Has a very similar feel to the Texas Motor Speedway, so drivers are going to have to be careful about how they go out there and how they attack this track. This isn't going to be an easy challenge. It's just going to be a tough, gritty 150 laps worth of racing action. So they've got that to think with. And on top of that, you're seeing here the warm-up times on screen for you right now. Nigel Stott currently the quickest. Everyone knows that this is probably the hardest race of the season. There are no ifs, no buts, no ands about it. These cold conditions are biting, and it's only going to stay around 19 degrees for the entirety of the race. No hope of this track extending and effectively getting warmer. We are moving into the evening, and I'm sure a lot of drivers now are hoping that they can get a great result. Someone who's good at getting these great results out of nowhere, car 23, Stephen de Grevelier. He's on screen right now for 603 Autosport. He had himself on debut a fourth place finish, which surprised a lot of people actually with the way that he went about his work. But you'd say at this point in time, de Grevelier, he's got himself a really good chance then to move himself into play and to get a lot of strong points. And it's the sort of track where if you can just keep it out of trouble, which de Grevelier does a lot better than most, he has himself a really good opportunity just to pick the quiet points up today. And this might just be the day as they funnel up behind Whitehouse. This is the issue that you're going to have. Boxing as Barendregt runs the wall on the outside. You get boxed behind a different driver, it is going to be a tall order and a challenge. And the last thing that anyone wants to do is deal with a tall order and deal with a challenge here today. Let's run ourselves then through the grid here at Iowa. Timothy Stroh will have himself pole position then with Alex Everett there alongside on the front row. Row 2 will have Ollie Peters there, the second of the Crest Autosport cars. This is big for the team's championship with Ben Bennyworth in fourth position. Fifth then will be Alfredo Morales with Thijs Barendregt in P number 6. That follows Stephen de Grevelier. Nigel Stock, then Stephen de Grevelier, 7th and 8th. Row 5 is a power of Row 5. Dave Stedman and Leonardo Paletta with Jamie Jenkins and Inigo Mardones on row number 6. In the final row, row 7, will have Jamie Dory and David Whitehouse making his first start of the season from the rear. So, drivers know they have got to be alert to things here today. It is going to be a very tough battling track, and if you can make it work off of this first start, this is the easiest time you can overtake because you're going to be too wide racing, trying to get it all sorted. You can only overtake on these starts around the outside. Stroh electing to take the low line as they run through 3 and 4. And anything possible then, as 150 laps are going to be put on the clock. Everybody knows how important this is. Pace car will go around for one more lap. Then the iRacing sedan safety car out there once again here today. A nondescript iRacing sedan. And now all about work and what you can manage with your work as this race will come into play. Do leave yourself, if you haven't already, a like, a share, a follow, whatever you need to do to get the Crest Autosport IndyCar Series in your mind. A lot of drivers on this rolling start are going to be worried about their tyre temperatures and really not having enough grip through the opening stages. We had something very similar happen at Phoenix with Dave Steadman when he had the pole position. Is this going to be a similar day for Timothy Stroh, arguably the greatest in this series without picking up a title? So, is this going to be the day? Or is this going to be a day of battling and a day of patience? Let's get that pace car then diving down onto the lane. Timothy Stroh has control of the field. He will launch it, and he gets a great launch. Green flag, we are away. Yeah, and already trouble at the back. Big trouble at the back. Caution off of the start. One of the ALP cars now, Fredo Morales, just having absolutely nothing off the start. He just lit it up, spun the wheels, ran into De Grevelier actually going through, and somehow everyone else managed to avoid it. So the opening lap of this race starts with a caution, and it starts unbelievably in the early goings then of this one. So there you can see Morales going around. Everybody else just about manages to avoid that. And an incident off at the start brings out the first caution. And Timothy Stroh is now your race leader. So he finds himself in a good position. I think Jamie Dory wasn't past the start-finish line when he's gone through. So when the caution came out, I think that he is in a little bit of a position. So not ideal at all in the slightest, but it is going to be a case then of what can you do at this stage. And I think this might just be a case then of drivers who weren't in the right position then getting themselves through. So I believe it is going to be a little bit of a problem that we find out there on track. So hopefully this is going to be something that's sorted, and we'll get ourselves through in a minute. But it looks like drivers are going to be in trouble. You can see that wheel there for Alfredo Morales. It is wobbling on the car, and that one's definitely going to have to bring itself into play, as that will have to be then in the pits the way that those drivers go. So Stroh leads, Everett second, Peters third, Bennyworth fourth, Barendregt moves up into fifth position, and that won't be ideal in the slightest. So this is going to be a case here where I think that drivers might be in trouble here. I think it might just be the case where if drivers get penalties, then they can be cleared at this situation. But it could be pretty much an important point in time, as I believe the call then is going to be that cars that are a lap down can go and pass the safety car. So that might be a crucial point, in fact, here as they go through, and they will have to catch the pack at the point that they need to. So there'll be a little bit of an alert out there in terms of drivers who potentially are in trouble, and that does also include David Whitehouse right now, who might be a little bit slow at this point in time. So that might not be ideal in the slightest at all. So there are going to be a few problems out there, but it now means that a lot of drivers here are going to be in a little bit of trouble here as they go through, and it's going to be a case of everyone just trying to get themselves sorted with everyone now trying to make sure, after what is a very awkward scenario, as they will line up, that they are trying to make sure that all of the issues out there get themselves cleared up without any trouble. So we'll get a single file restart. It's been a busy start to this race. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for what was a lot of confusion off the start, but everyone now in the right position, and ultimately as they go through, then this should be a case where the restart will now get themselves sorted. So pace car will dive down in. It will be Timothy Stroh who has control. We are back underway here on lap number 6. So a single file restart to get everyone back and sorted once again. Stroh with a great getaway here, and already the gaps starting to show themselves then as they get back to green flag running. It's Everett in second, it's Peters in third, fourth and fifth is Bennyworth and Barendregt. And it's always going to be a battle, as already the gap has moved out to Leonardo Paletta. You got Stock there in this race as well. He's trying to battle as well with Barendregt. And these cold conditions are going to be about what can you do early. Already up high in trouble a bit is Stephen de Grevelier, as he was battling with Dave Steadman. So now he goes way back. Stock with a really good run, trying to think about a move potentially down low side to pick one off away. And as he tries to battle it off of the exit, he doesn't have enough drive. We've got side-by-side behind, though, as Jamie Dorey looks like he's got a turn of pace. He's going to try and get himself through against Jamie Jenkins. He'll ride up the circuit a little bit, and ultimately, no dice in terms of trying to get through there. So some dramas in the early goings. All drivers then have got themselves back into position. Everybody on the leading lap as they should be. And a bit of side-by-side again with Barendregt Stock trying to get through on the short side, and that is on the low side, trying to make this one happen. So can he get himself through? He's just struggling every time because the draft is not helping, because Bennyworth and Peters are fighting hard for that third place at this point in time, just in front. So that's what's causing all of the troubles, really, for Nigel Stock to find himself a way through. Top two are away, Stroh and Everett, who lead this race. Bennyworth going to have to go down to that low line. He wants to try and make a way through. The high line is the great defensive line, and he's got to be careful here that he's on the wrong side of the tracks, so to speak, because soon it's going to be a case of, well, everyone's going to find a way through, and everyone just about will at this point. Mistake as well for Ollie Peters. He had to catch the slide. Barendrecht's going to steal it up and under and get himself the place, and as close as you like from Nigel Stock, as he very nearly runs into the side of Ollie Peters there. So Ollie losing 2 places then, and on the back is suddenly Leonardo Paletta. So the group starting to form up here. A big group, by the way, here for third place on back, and almost 3 wides they go through the corner. That they're losing the place is Ben Bennyworth, as Paletta working his way through underneath. Deals that one away and goes back down to the low side, where he's been having confidence in the way he's been driving this race so far. Timothy Stroh has himself control of the field at the moment, but look at this pack that continues on behind Ollie Peters. Bennyworth ducking down low, effectively boxing in Leonardo Paletta up high. Paletta will get the drive to the mid part of the corner and get himself back away again here on lap 15 of this race. All drivers need to make at least 1 stop today for fuel and tyres if they should need to, as at this point in time, Ollie Peters is going to have to be very alert. Already in this race, drivers could soon be finding the lapping process. Paletta underneath then, trying to get this one sorted. He runs around, and you can see just behind, that's Jamie Jenkins, who's made some great progress, and they're going to fan out here 3 wide in towards turn 1 and 2. Look at this from Jenkins, trying to get the 2-for-1 offer, but ultimately Paletta denies that, and Peters will now run the outside, and he will try and get himself a nice positioned run to make this all happen. And now you're going to start getting Jamie Dorey in the mix, who moves on that high side around Ben Bennyworth. So Jamie Dorey now moving through, the 2 Jamies in tandem out then on this track, and they're trying to work through as Nigel Stock puts himself up into 3rd position, gets by, caution flag comes out then. It's Inigo Mardones up in the high side of the wall at turn number 1 and 2, and that will bring out our caution for Inigo Mardones, who put the tail in the wall, then the nose, and that ultimately will be him in a bit of trouble. So Stroh got a really good launch off of that restart, built himself a gap of just over a second, and it didn't look like that was coming down at any point in time. But the second caution of the day comes out. We're on lap 20 of 150. At this rate, we'll have about 15 cautions to bring ourselves through this race at a very, very tight track here in Newton, Iowa at this point in time. Let's get a little look, though, at what happened with Inigo Mardones. He was running a little bit down near the back of the pack. It looks like the car just tries to turn in, stays high, and the back just snaps. It just absolutely snaps. He hits the brakes trying to save it. One in the wall, two in the wall. The front wing disintegrates up there into the barriers. And as such, that then will be a caution, and that will also be, at this point, drivers diving in. So into the pits then, Morales, Steadman, Jenkins, Peters, and Barendregt leading the charge of those to dive into the pits. Those staying out, Timothy Stroh, Alex Everett, Nigel Stock. You've got yourself Leonardo Paletta, Jamie Dory, Ben Bennyworth, David Whitehouse, and Inigo Mardones at the back is staying out at this point in time. So he's deciding that he's on the back of the pack. He won't go in immediately. He'll go in on the next lap. There are no waiver rounds here in this series, and there is Thijs Barendregt, who is trying to exit the pit lane right now, and will do so without too many dramas out there. Will be followed by Jenkins and Ollie Peters there, just behind Dave Steadman and Alfredo Morales. They're going to have to try and make some work to jump through the field. They'll have 20 laps better tyres, and on top of that, the tyres would have gone through a cycle or two starting cycles in this race for the leaders. So that wear, the most intensive part of the race, is always the restart. You always are worried about the rear spin, and you're always wheel spin, and you're always worried about the rears. So yes, it is rear spin because it's the wheel spin in the rears, and now all of a sudden Inigo Mardones does decide to come in with the broken front nose. So should get himself a new nose cone on that, fresh car, and get back out and racing again here from the Iowa Speedway. So that is always something just in the back of the mind. Lights on here after what has been a difficult start. We had ourselves an issue on the opening lap of the race, which, or just as we came to the green, Alfredo Morales spinning the car caused a caution. A lot of confusion out there in the pack. All things getting themselves sorted out. But everyone managed to get themselves in a clear position. So that certainly worked itself a little bit of magic. But ultimately, that run there lasting just about as long as we expected it to, around 15 laps before a caution came out and one driver lost the rears. And that definitely not the plan that they were definitely hoping for. So, at least at this point in time, we are going to be running ourselves back to green. Not this lap, but the next lap we will be going green. Stroh will have a car in between himself and Alex Everett as he goes, which will definitely be useful in terms of making that grand escape. But some great gainers in this field. Nigel Stock, 7th up to 3rd. Leonardo Paletta from 10th up to 4th. Jamie Dory, your biggest mover in the field. He's up 8 spaces from 13th to 5th. So the next-gen driver certainly looking pretty handsome at this point in time and doing a good job of things, put himself in the best position. But, as we know, long race still to go, and not everybody has yet tasted what makes this track so very difficult. We haven't really had too much of the lapping process to worry about either, but we are, for the first time, in the thralls of strategy out here today. 150 laps around this track, and we should be seeing a lot of action here. Those who have gone early, pitted here over lap 20. It's going to be a long way from here to make it to the end on fuel. So they will be reliant on a number of cautions if that were to be the case, to hold on and manage and hopes that this becomes a caution fest of a race. But you're never truly out of it here at Iowa Speedway. And now we got ourselves a run up towards that restart. It will be the 3rd start of the race that we have had, the 2nd after a caution. Timothy Stroh has led every lap so far. If he can get himself through over half the race, he will have the bonus point for most laps led. He has it for putting pole position. He'll look for fastest lap. There's the green flag. And we are underway. And look at how much of a stall out there is for Alex Everett trying to get past Stephen de Grevelier. Was really tentative about making that run on the outside because it's the only way you can pass off of it. And nearly de Grevelier in the wall, finds himself in trouble. Low down goes Paletta in 4th position. He's fighting Jamie Dory at this point, and Ben Bennyworth has already had a good run. Dory goes down low, and this is where it gets a little bit dangerous. Paletta stuck in behind. He's going to lose 2 spots. So a little bit slow off the start from Leonardo Paletta. It puts him way back, and he didn't want to lose those 2 spots, especially not early. Bennyworth still trying to clear the traffic and will manage so. Paletta is going to try and follow, but now you've got the drivers who are on fresh tyres behind trying to chase. Thijs Barendregt, Jamie Jenkins is there. They've already, both of them, dispatched to David Whitehouse there in the Mercedes livery. But now up on the high side getting around the traffic is Thijs Barendregt. That battle still continuing out there on circuit, and it gets very close for Thijs there up on the top, and very close for Jamie Jenkins, who I think actually tagged the wall there going in towards 1. That would have been a cause of concern. He still gets it cleared coming off of the exit of 2, so always going to be a little bit of trouble out there on track there for Jamie Jenkins, but he does well. Good battle there just behind them as well. You can see Morales, Steadman and Ollie Peters. They're all there trying to figure out their spots. This is down for 12th position at the moment, the last on the leading lap. So they've still got work to do as they drive it on through and up the track. You can see Jamie Dory having himself a race with Ben Bennyworth, who's trying that low line once again. And that is going to be always worth keeping in the back of the mind. But drivers are going to try and dive down low to steal a place, but the high side seemingly the one that works. And up and under comes Leonardo Paletta's 97. He'll try and get by the 96. And I've got one more number than you, which means I've got one more position than you. Good pass from Leonardo. He moves himself back then into 5th place and straight down the inside of Jamie Dory. Does he find enough room? He has to really get down low to try and avoid contact there, and he'll lose out then on the place, but he still gets a chance then on that inside to make it happen. Dory almost up into the wall there as they charge the gap 2.1 seconds to your front. Everett and Stock 2nd and 3rd, and ultimately Dory in 4th position, holding on well. Bennyworth this time will come down to the inside, will take it away from Paletta, who will try and go up and under, pick up a run off of the exit, but then now starts to get encroached in by Thijs Barendregt here on lap 33. So that is always going to be in the rear view mirror. That do not get yourself involved in that. That's going to be the last thing that you want to see. Got good battles then going along pretty much everywhere at this point in time, but it is again Paletta diving down low, trying to find himself the right position, and he cannot quite manage that pass. So patience needed. A long way to go as drivers experiment with different lines. David Whitehouse, the sort of driver who does need a couple of laps to get back into position. There he is on the back of Jamie Jenkins, and he's finding a rhythm for himself right now, so he could have an opportunity to go and attack a little bit later on, as Leonardo Paletta getting right up against the wall, even tagging it slightly as he went in towards 1 and 2. So he's got to be careful about that. If he keeps tagging that wall, he'll hurt the suspension, and that might spell trouble over the course of racing today, because here comes Thijs Barendregt. Power move down low, but he's going to understeer off the exit. That will open it up for Paletta a little bit, but he doesn't quite have the angle through 3 and 4. Again, the high side working for Thijs Barendregt. He'll take the place away. So Barendregt now moving himself up the order and doing what he needs to in this race to try and pull back some points and some damage limitation in terms of the championship. There are 2 drop rounds between rounds 1 and 11. Round 12 cannot be dropped for any reason. And that, of course, the Indianapolis round caution out on track. It's a big wreck for one of the ALP cars out there potentially. Sorry, no, it's not exactly the ALP cars. It's going to be someone else out there who's run themselves into trouble. It was a huge accident there going through. And that, sorry, is Inigo Mardones again. So Mardones' day is done. Has had no love there out on track. I only saw it at a fleeting glance. So what happened with Inigo is the real question. Is it again, as we take a look then towards the replay, It looks like understeer this time. It was oversteered initially. It's understeer this time. And right in front of Timothy Stroh, your race leader, heavy hit into the wall. And Stroh just diving through. De Grevelier as well was lucky not to get caught up. But Madonna's day is done on what has been a very tough display. Third caution then. And in comes the race leader, Timothy Stroh. Put his stop in. He'll be joined by Everett, Stock, Dory, Bennyworth's going to dive in. Paletta is also going to come in. Oh, caught in two minds. Morales, too late. You have to stay out, buddy. Peters in, Steadman in, which means Thijs Barendregt now will take some laps leading this race. And those bonus points are going to be crucial. It will promote Jamie Jenkins up then into second position. And it will move into third David Whitehouse, who will take some time at the front. A few issues for Morales there as well. He is in fourth position right now, but he is suffering a little bit with the connection issue. So hopefully he can fix that. Stroh wins the battle off of pit lane. Ahead of Everett, ahead of Stock, Dory and Bennyworth. Paletta a mile ahead of Ollie Peters and Dave Steadman. They will happily run themselves to the back. Give themselves an opportunity here. 41 laps then of 150 at the Iowa Speedway are scored complete. Thijs Barendregt, your race leader at this point in time. Second in the train with the driver there, Stephen de Grevelier, a lap down at this point in time. This is where you start thinking about that strategy. Those who didn't pit on the opening lap on that second caution have done so on their third. Seems like there's a light flickering down there over at turn 1 and 2. That'll be a little bit concerning there for a couple of drivers there, that there's a light having itself a bit of a moment. But at least for the time being, it is going to be Barendregt, and then following that, Jenkins and Whitehouse. Whitehouse has been a little bit slow off the restarts. That'll be a cause of concern. I expect Morales to go through, but we haven't seen today how Timothy Stroh makes his way through different drivers out there in the field. We haven't seen Timothy Stroh go out there and make overtakes. He will have behind him every stage of the way Alex Everett. I think Timothy Stroh is in a bit of a race right now, and he needs to be very alert with the way that this one goes. He's second in the championship. Of course, he had that spin in Fontana at Auto Club. Although one of the first times he found himself some trouble out there at another one of the ovals. It was more damage limitation in the road courses. Of course, when it came to Watkins Glen, was just happy with a solid points finish. This is more of his bread and butter, Timothy Stroh. And someone who, in terms of IndyCar racing at the highest level, is one of the quick Europeans out there. And I would say, with Indy season just a couple of months away, might want to keep an eye out on him for being quite quick. So a lot to unpack and uncover, and opportunities here for drivers. They know what they need to do, as the pace car right now finds itself with a form of control now into the pits. And now this is interesting how late the call is. It's Jamie Jenkins. Now, I'm not sure why the call is that the 48 has jumped in. There is no reason why the 48 has jumped in, except that is a strategy call. Dive down in on lap 44 of the race. So it'll be 107 laps from that point to bring himself home. So he might be banking on a little something, get himself fuel, and try and get himself over to the end. It's going to be a long stint, though, to do that. Maybe 90 laps I can expect out of a tank here. That's what I'd say is wheelhouse, but 107, it's going to be tough. No matter which way you look at it, it's going to be a tough one. So, pace under the control of Thijs Barendregt. He's got two rear gunners in Whitehouse and Morales. He's got control, and he's really waiting for that green flag, and he is going to get the jump, and he's going to get a great jump on David Whitehouse. Let's get a green flag back out there. We are back racing here from Iowa. Morales up in the higher side of the circuit. leaves himself in a bit of trouble. Stroh looking down low, trying to take this one away, isn't going to get there. It's a nice clean start. It's what we love to see here at Iowa as they run through 3 and 4, and now Morales with the run, trying to search for second position. You can see there is Stroh in fourth, and some big battling and troubles for Jamie Dory, who is out there running it, keeping it in a straight line. Dory in trouble up on the high side of the circuit. It looked like he just put it in the wall, and he has kept it there. Side by side then, it goes to second position, and finally Alfredo Morales does get the move sorted and will move himself up a position. Whitehouse in trouble now. He'll start getting freight trained. That's Stroh down there on the inside, and he'll move up into third. So another little pass being scored as complete. But sometimes you get dramas out there, and sometimes they just do not work in your favour. But it is Thijs Barendregt out in front. In terms of the battles out there, you've got great battling here. Stock versus Everett versus Whitehouse. It's Alex Everett now jumping down low, trying to take it away from David Whitehouse, migrating back up the circuit to say, that's my position, and takes it as well, moving that forward, getting that one done. And then it's going to be Stock's turn with a Stock overtake down low. Looking to try and get this one sorted, and doesn't quite, because that high line starts to really rubber up. And this is what iRacing's dynamic track system does. You really get that track rubbering itself back in, and Stock cannot get a clear by his iRacing spotter. And that, ultimately, only now is going to get the job done. And it's cost almost a second by being stuck on the low line. And now Ben Bennyworth will be on the back, and Leonardo Paletta trying to drive through as well. Will be another driver in hot pursuit, trying to make this race a reality. Bennyworth trying to duck down low. He has to really get on the binders as he went through, because that car was trying to step out, and he got it all in check. It puts Paletta down low. And we've seen these two battling all night long so far. And just through the gap, squeaking through, Ben Bennyworth moving past David Whitehouse and getting that one wonderfully scored as a pass completed. Paletta also trying the same, using that low line, trying to run back up the circuit and block it off. Ducking back down low this time will be David Whitehouse. He's tired of losing places. He wants to gain some. There's Jamie Jenkins as well, the last of the pitters at this point. So he's trying to move on through the field. He'll also pick up the place. And really, it's a lonely, lonely road if you are David Whitehouse right now. You've got Ollie Peters and then Steadman. Jamie Dory now classified as 2 laps down, putting it in the wall, but not enough to cause a caution out there on track. Peters now side by side as he tries to get this move done, moving through on the inside. He'll wash up. This will put Steadman maybe in play, but not quite enough. 11 drivers here on the leading lap here as we are on lap 56 of this race, and no dice as they run through the opening stages then of this one. Ben Bennyworth now on the back of Nigel Stock, who has really dropped off the back now of Alex Everett here. The fight for fifth is on, and Nige trying to find a way to hold on to this place. Ben Bennyworth, who has been so good at just picking up passes when he's needed them, he's now going to try and do it again out there on circuit. He looks down on the inside, really fighting the car for some turning. Doesn't quite get it, and he'll have to stick in behind, because the high line is the place today where it needs to be. And now you start to see drivers experimenting, trying to see, can you duck down low, can you duck down high? 2.1 seconds gap at the front of the field now for Thijs Barendregt over Alfredo Morales. Stroh in third, Everett currently in fourth position out there on track, and this is why we love this style of racing. Stock again, struggles off of 4, had to really get out of it going through, and it nearly opened the door for Ben Bennyworth. So Bennyworth's got an opportunity here. If he wants to try and get it done, it's going to take a couple laps. This is high-speed chess at the highest caliber, and again, off the exit of 4. That's the weakness so far of Nigel Stock. Bennyworth will take advantage in towards turn number 1, and he'll get it sorted, but here comes the up and under, and that drive off of the exit from Nigel Stock is going to wonderfully get himself back in front, but only for the briefest of moments, Bennyworth around the outside of 4 moves up into 5th position. Paletta now trying to work the high side, and the line works as well. And it seems like if you've got a bit of a vision in front of you, that is an opportunity, and move then is score complete. Troubles though for Stroh, because he's got Everett all over him here, going through 1 and 2. They got stuck up behind de Grevalier, and now here comes the fight for 3rd. Everett's going to duck down low, trying to take this place away, but he just runs out. Can't quite get the line, so a good effort there from Alex Everett, Welsh Dynamite. He's trying to figure out a way to get past Timothy Stroh, who has been infallible so far in this race, and he may just have to be infallible again. The good news for Stroh is he'll need a shorter pit stop than Thijs Barendregt when they get to, or if it gets to, green flag pit stops. That will be one thing in the back of their mind, and they will be trying to make sure that they run this race the way they want to. Jamie Jenkins, by the way, has moved through Nigel Stock as well, so they have been passing another little look there, coming through for not happening for Alex Everett. He's just got to be diligent here, and he's trying to duck down low, pick up drive the natural way you would around any road course circuit, the out into outline. But that high line with the higher degrees of parabolic banking is certainly helping Timothy Stroh, especially around here today. It seems like the sort of place where you absolutely would love to see some great racing action going on, and we've got it right now here for position number 3. Coming up soon towards the halfway distance lap of lap 75 out there on track. Barendregt still your leader, the gap now out to 3.2 seconds at the moment. The battle's still happening further back as well, as Paletta gets a great run here on Ben Bennyworth, trying to sort out the pass. He'll go down underneath, he'll pick it up, but is there drive off of the exit? There absolutely is. Duck it down low, and now you start to wonder, what do you do? Ben Bennyworth moving up on lap 69, up to 5th place once again. But here comes Paletta trying to pretty much put himself back in play, but he doesn't quite get enough of a run, and you'll have to just tuck in behind for the next couple of corners out here on this track. Dave Steadman as well, 10th position, quietly working his way through. This is an important teams battle between the T&D and then at the Apex Tracks cars. They're out there on track, the Crest Autosport machines, as they fight for what is honours in the teams at this point. It'll be even keel. If it stays like this, there won't be much, if any, of a points change. But again, here comes Paletta, looking down low side, trying to take this one away. He's not going to get there, so patience prevails once again, staying in front. The dirty air is a nightmare out there on track, so keep that in mind, that drivers are going to be in a little bit of a struggle street, and we've got lap traffic battles as well. Steadman and Peters, though, they continue their scrap, and Peters cannot do anything about Steadman around the outside. That's a great pass out there, and it puts the perfect position right there on the board. Whitehouse goes a lap down, and now drivers here on a very short circuit are about to find that lapping process, and that could be a disaster if they're on the wrong side of a caution, because there is no lucky dogs here at this point in time. So what does that mean? No lucky dog, no wave around. A lap down, you're staying a lap down. So you have to be very, very resolute and diligent to how you put yourself back into the right position out on circuit. So drivers thinking about what they need to do. Everett getting really close to the back of Timothy Stroh, but Stroh on that high line is doing more than enough. We go on board here with Alex Everett. You can see it's just the drive off of each corner that is working at this point in time. Everett's trying to get himself out of the dirty air, give himself room to attack, give himself something to play with, but he's just got absolutely nothing at this point. And now Stock is going to drop a position here because Steadman finds his way around. So Dave Steadman going the right direction. Nigel Stock, after a great couple of opening stints, the long run isn't working. So he'll start dropping back and put himself in a little bit of trouble out there today. So again, Stroh in third, holding off Everett here in fourth. They go side by side almost here as they come through. Traffic merging then as they go through. That's going to put them in a really tough position. Everett taking a huge gamble with De Grevelier. De Grevelier is going to go around, and that is going to be in the wall, a caution, and a big wreck. 4 cars involved. There's going to be Paletta who's caught up in it, Jenkins, and also on top of that, David Whitehouse is in trouble in the fence as well. A huge accident on the back, and this is what accidents happen. Drivers come out of pit, they're slow to get up to speed, and then everybody gets caught up with that merging difference. So a caution comes out, Whitehouse losing the back end exactly the same way as De Grevelier did. It was a carbon copy as both of them ended up in trouble, and if they haven't come into the pits to try and get themselves fueled to the end already, then surely they will do so now. 4th caution of the day. There is David Whitehouse and the Motorsport Magpie Racing with the Mercedes livery. He's going to dive in for the pits, but that is not good, and I would say we get a replay on this. Leonardo Paletta not happy over in-game communications, but De Grevelier in the wall, and then just the instant behind, it's 2 different crashes. It's David Whitehouse, the second crash, and it's both cars that had just come out of the pits on fresh tyres finding themselves with trouble. So this is Jamie Jenkins' view of this then, as he comes up the circuit. There's an incident in front of him. Where do you go if you're Jamie Jenkins? Absolutely nowhere is the answer, and it puts a little bit of trouble into play. So Jamie Dory has stayed out. Jamie Jenkins will get himself back going, but crucially, Barendregt out first, Morales out second, then it's Stroh and Everett 3rd and 4th. So the pitting cycle has worked, and you can see there's Jamie Jenkins caught up in it. His tyre looking pretty second-hand on the front left, that's trying desperately to remain a steering wheel. But Barendregt regains control of this race, which is exactly what he's hoping for. But the one thing he'll be worried about is if Alfredo Morales gets leapfrogged here off of this restart, because that will put Timothy Stroh, number 44, back into position here to attack between now and the end of this race. Everybody now here on lap 82 of 150 should be good between now and the end of this race. They should be good on fuel, which means that it comes down to talent from this point onwards. Some drivers may be thinking late on in the stints that if there is a late caution that they might come in for tyres, and it might just be a world of trouble for those a little bit later on. Just 8 drivers now remain on the leading lap. Of them, they include Ollie Peters back there in 8th position, Nigel Stock, who is in 7th, and Ben Bennyworth up now into 5th position, not forgetting Dave Steadman in 6th place. A number of drivers multiple laps down at this point in time. Paletta's race is over as he is out of the car, as into the pits will come Jamie Dory to move 2 laps down, move out of the way of Thijs Barendregt, who will effectively regain control of the front of the field as we pace for the 4th time behind the iRacing sedan safety car. Lights still on, which means we have at least 1 more lap to go of running before the lights come off, and we'll move to a restart. But the midpoint of this race, there's a reason why an hour and 35 minutes were allotted. Small track, it's easy for cautions to come along. It's easy to get yourself in a little bit of trouble. But at least right now, Barendregt with control of this field. Morales in a very good position in second. Remember, he spun off of the first start, brought out the caution and a bit of the confusion, had to use his fast repair to get himself back into play. And ultimately, by the time that he did, he still managed to get to the back of the pack. But ultimately, in terms of him and what he needed to do, Spaghetti-O, he's back in position and really trying to work well in second. Timothy Stroh, though, in third. Probably the biggest threat in this field. Everett in 4th as well. If he can get a launch on the German, would be good. And you got Ben Bennyworth, who's always quiet in 5th position here at Iowa, which is ever a place to be a quiet driver. It is this track to make it happen. So, with the lights then pretty much off on top of the iRacing sedan safety car, we're going to be getting ourselves back underway on lap 85 of 150 with Thijs Barendregt looking to cement his claim for most laps led, bonus point, and to keep the likes of Morales, Stroh and Everett at bay. Once again, he'll leave a huge gap to the pace car, which will dive into the pits. And he goes right up to the height of the wall, ducks down low, and again decides to go. He'll get himself a huge wiggle, though, as he tries to put the power down. Green flag, we're back away again. And suddenly, passes aplenty. Steadman around the outside of Ben Bennyworth, trying to get the pass done. Trying to get it sorted. No dice as he goes through. Everett all over the back then of Timothy Stroh. The front four away at this point, and almost contact between Everett and Stroh as they go through. Great drive by Steadman then as he goes through. Nigel Stock's trying to look for a line here as he goes down the inside with one. Nearly two as he tries to get Ben Bennyworth as well, but Stock falls back into line as he now moves up into 6th position with that pass. Barendregt under pressure for the race lead as Alfredo Morales in the number 18 tries to put himself into play, tries to get himself what he wants, and not quite is the port of call at this stage. Stroh in 3rd, Everett in 4th, top 4 all running together pretty nicely. Little lax off of the exit though for Barendregt, and here comes Morales for the first time today from spinner to the race lead. Big wiggle from Barendregt then up on the high side. That will bring Stroh into play, and a little bit boxed out there on the outside is Barendregt as he had the overlap. He'll still get a great run, and now here comes Everett. Noah's Ark Sim Racing 2x2 on lap 89 as they go through 1 and 2. And Barendregt loops it! Barendregt loops it into Stroh! The top 2 in the championship have come together, and now there's more dramas. Bang! Someone else gets caught up in it. I believe it was Ollie Peters, of all people, who gets the tap from Stroh. And suddenly, Dory as well had to avoid it. He spun it and looped it around. And a big accident involving the top 2 in the championship. Can you believe it at this point in time? Oh my word. It puts Alfredo Morales in the lead. But this is what we were looking at. Thijs Barendregt. What a time to have a moment like that. Our 5th caution of the race. And we'll have a little look in a second at just exactly what went down. But my goodness. Barendregt on that high side gets loose. Stroh nowhere to go, praying that he doesn't just stay there. He does. Peters tries to avoid it, and bang! He takes the tap, and he is so unlucky. He comes up. Jamie Dory, by the way, no contact with anyone. He just lost it trying to keep himself out of trouble. And I think he may have managed to be able to do it. If we can rewind that back, I'm not sure if Jamie Dory actually got wall or not. So this is Jamie Dory's view then from aerial coverage brought to you by Crest Autosport's IndyCar series. He avoids it, just about goes through the middle, has to really jam on the binders, and he's got away with that there. He's done so well to get away with that as Jamie Dory. His race still alive, albeit 2 laps down. So Stroh had to take a tow, so he's now over a lap down. So this is Stroh's perspective of it. Where do you go? Thijs just stays in the middle of the road. You expect a car either to go up or go down. You never expect an IndyCar to stay in exactly the same place, and that is what has caught out Timothy Stroh. Barendregt the rear wing off, but crucially his race still going. So there's Barendregt. Very lucky he didn't take Morales with him, and that is the view of what he's got on that accident, trying to keep the car going, and he is lucky. You could see there, that was Ollie Peters there, and that heavy hit as he went sliding on by. Barendregt has done very well to keep himself in this race, and not only in this race, but on the leading lap as well, which gives him still the chance, if he uses his fast repair, to bring himself into play. Ollie Peters, by the way, even with that hit, was able to bring himself down onto the pits on the leading lap, so keeps himself in place. So let's reset and reasituate. Alfredo Morales leads. Alex Everett is in 2nd. Ben Bennyworth up to 3rd. Nigel Stock is now 4th. Dave Steadman is 5th. Barendregt is 6th. And Ollie Peters is now in 7th position here in this race. Still a long way to go. Stroh still has to wait for the towing time, which is what is costing him the couple of laps at this moment. Such a heavy accident out there. But this is what championships are won and lost on. Moments like these. And it's this sort of moment where if Barendregt gets caught up in anything else his race is done, and it will really help the likes of Everett and Bennyworth and Steadman and even Jeremy Pronk, who's not here today, to get back into this championship. Because it's days like today where you have to use this one as a drop, and you don't want to be dropping naught. That is the one thing that all drivers try and avoid, is dropping naught or dropping a result. We have 3 drivers out of the race entirely. They are Inigo Mardones, Leonardo Paletta, and Steven de Grevalier, who is not out, but he's 11 laps down at this point in time and really is just trying to finish this one. But Morales, spinner to leader of the field. Not something that we often get to say when it comes to Crest Autosport's IndyCar series, but my goodness, has he been a very lucky lad out there at the front of this pack. Races in Canada, as Jamie Jenkins comes in for a stop. So racing in Canada, representing Venezuela with the quote-unquote FIA license, as there, the Crest Autosport license, we'll call it at this point. Thijs Barendregt there, Dutchman in 6th still. And I'm not sure if he actually came down in and got himself... he did come down in and get his service, so that was crucial for Thijs Barendregt. Stroh, by the way, is back out there again. He is 2 laps down, and he'll be racing Jamie Dory for 9th place. So that will be that race. But this is the crucial time. Barendrecht's used his fast repair, got himself back on the leading lap. Lights off on top of the iRacing sedan pace car. Lap 95. We will go back to green on 56 more laps of racing here from the Iowa Speedway. Alfredo Morales, for the first time today, has control of the field. He's got Everett and Bennyworth behind, and he's going to go very, very early with this. Green flag, we're back underway here from the Iowa Speedway, and a huge jump early is what a lot of drivers have been hoping for. Just note as well, Stroh and Barendregt are on the same piece of real estate out there on track as well. So if anything between those two seem to have popped off, then this will be the telling point, you would say, at this moment in the race. Barendregt does not need to fight Stroh. Stroh's trying to race as hard as he can. Morales has got a good gap off of his lead. 2nd is Everett. Bennyworth 3rd. Stock is 4th. He's good on the opening 10 laps, but then his tyres do start to fall away. Steadman currently in P number 5. Then it's Barendregt, and then all the way at the back is Ollie Peters in 7th position at this point. There is your current championship leader as he moves up over the top, and he may have just sacrificed most laps led bonus point on top of what he was doing so far today, as he very comfortably keeps Timothy Stroh behind him at bay, who doesn't need to make the pass, and he knows better than to get involved as Timothy Stroh, because he is a very professional sim racer out there. Ben Bennyworth, let's focus on him though, in the 96 in 3rd position. He is closing in on Alex Everett, Welsh Dynamite himself, and trying to move up into 2nd position. He can't quite get the run up on that high side and has to be very, very alert to it. But this is a very tough race, and it's already proven so with 3 retirees in a 14-car field. It shows you how tough you have to be to go out there to race and to get the car functioning the way that you want it to. Moving through 1 and 2 again on lap 100, ladies and gentlemen. We've reached the centenary, and now moving forward through 3 and 4, trying to pick up that run. A little wiggle in front from Alex Everett, who will have to be careful about that back. Starts to get squirrely and stepping out ever so slightly over the course of the stint. All drivers should be good to reach the end of this race, and especially with more cautions, they should be a little bit better on that. But at least at this point in time, there's trouble. There's trouble. It's de Grevalier, but it looks like he just spun the car. No need to throw a caution out for it, as he was able to get himself back going. It was down on the low side of the track and off the circuit, not affecting anybody. So we're going to stay green for now, as Everett deals with Ben Bennyworth out on track, who is trying every which line to work a way through. He's trying up high, he's trying down low. At this point, you might as well try drifting the car around the corner, see if that makes a difference, but he's not getting much luck. And if they're not careful, they start fighting. They'll bring Nigel Stock into this and Dave Steadman. And Steadman right now would be huge for the team's championship because he needs as many points as he can to deal with Stroh back there in 10th place in this race. He can see Alex Everett, and here's the look behind with that very skinny rear wing, moving across then 1 and 2 once again. He builds up the gap, but Bennyworth for the first time look good. They'll have traffic in front into Grevelier, but they'll have to try and get by, and that's not going to work for Bennyworth through 3 and 4. He can't follow on that low line exactly the same way. So there's one little move through, there's 2 little moves through, and that one all nicely sorted as they try and navigate their way around out on track. So some good passes there. Here's Timothy Stroh. He's trying to get past David Whitehouse, who's 2 laps down on him, so that would be for lap position. It's crucial he stays with this because Jamie Dory's only 2 cars in front of him, now 3, as Dory makes his way around the Grevelier. So you're seeing drivers trying to put themselves into a place where they can go and attack and gain some places, but they also have to follow through. 3 wide almost, then just behind, and now Stroh's got to try and work out what's the best way to go. 2 bits of lap traffic fighting in front of him. He'll get by 1, but David Whitehouse, every reason to try and unlap himself there or put that lap through. He's doing a very good job of things right now. Back 2nd and 3rd is still there and still close as Ben Bennyworth wants to try and find that move, but every time he turns into that corner, he gets buffeted with the dirty air, and he can't find a lane to give himself the attack he wants. You've got Nigel Stock there. He's under pressure because that's Dave Steadman trying around the outside. He can't find it. He decides he's checking back into line in comparison then, as you've got British drivers 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in this race at the moment. Now trying again around the outside is Dave Steadman. He still can't find it. He's got to duck low, but again, he's not quite in line to make it happen. Gap at the front. 1 second caution, and the caution comes out. It's de Grevelier in trouble on the back as he spun the car around. That is a case of a full 360 and nearly taking Ollie Peters for another ride. So de Grevelier around. That is a caution, and that will bunch the field back up again. So here's a look at de Grevelier. Out of 4, back steps around. That's the first accident out there, the first spin that was there. So that was always the issue. And now here, I believe we're going to find the second one. You can see a full 360 on the circuit. That in front of the car is every right to call a caution. And we will now just quietly bring ourselves back to some pacing here, and it won't be any mind for Alfredo Morales, who leads this race outright. Ben Bennyworth will dive in with Nigel Stock, and Dave Steadman is going to follow. That will promote Barendregt up to 3rd. Ollie Peters is also going to dive in. Now this will be a tyres call. This will be a tyres call. Fresh tyres to attack against drivers who do not have the tyre life to attack. This is a big moment in this race. All the drivers who have pitted are hoping that those tyres that's going to stay green for a long time, that they're going to run out of tread. And if they do run out of tread on their tyre, then this could be a race which ends in disaster for some and elation for others. It does promote Barendregt up to 3rd, and he'll definitely want to try and get past the driver he fought for the championship with last season in Alex Everett, and then Alfredo Morales, who has gone from 0 to hero over the course of this race. Ollie Peters then back out on track, along with Steadman, Stock, Bennyworth, who are on the back of the train now, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars to get through who are lapped. It will be 4 as Jamie Dory will dive in. It will be 3 with David Whitehouse. It will be 2 with Stephen de Grevelier. So the 2 staying out, Jamie Jenkins and Timothy Stroh. Stroh will take the extra position, move himself up to 9th, give himself a little bit of an extra point out there. He won't mind at all, will Stroh, moving up into that 9th position. He's got the entire length of the lap, around 17-ish seconds to chase down Jamie Jenkins. But there is car number 18, leading this field in first position, Alfredo Morales. He's been such a good qualifier in terms of that ALP team. But ALP Motorsports have never had a victory in this championship. It is so surprising to say that, but they have never had a victory. And my goodness, would they love to take their first here at Iowa. This is the track where you would love to say anybody can win it, and it has never been more true than right now. Everett currently in second, Barendregt currently in third. We are expecting the lights soon to come off of the pace car and move back to some green flag running. Not this time, it seems, so we'll take at least one more lap around. And it is a long lap, and it's a slow lap at around pacing nearly 80 Ks as they go through. Now, this is just to make sure that everyone is situated and puts themselves in the right position. But I think drivers do have, of course, to be concerned about the safety car speed, because they will be worried about that tyre life, not tyre life, but tyre temperature falling away. In cold conditions, cold tyres, cold restart, it's not going to be good. And you can already see one Mr. Thijs Barendregt having a little weave. He's got to be careful about doing that. He doesn't burn enough fuel doing that. But he had a little weave to say, come on, I want to get my tyres up to temperature, or maybe even just a little look down to say, yeah, there's still two cars there. There's still lights on that safety car, so yeah, we're still going around for another revolution. So at least at this point in time, these drivers know and understand this is a tough race. Everett's been the only driver inside of the top three who has not used their fast repair. So if it goes wrong for Everett, he still has an option in this race to finish at least inside the top 10 at this point. Lights off on top of the iRacing sedan safety car. It's a nondescript sedan. We will be going back green on lap 117 of 150, which will leave us with mental maths 34 laps to go here at Iowa. It is a tough 34 laps to try and figure out and get sorted. A couple cars in the way of those trying to work through the field. Bennyworth, Stock, Steadman, Peters. They want to get to the front as quickly as they can. They've got better tyres than the three who stayed out in front. Morales had to. He has control of this field. Pace car will dive in, and he goes incredibly early and has completely caught Alex Everett napping. Green flag. Back underway from Iowa. Barendregt just behind, and Thijs can't do anything. Stroh in his mirrors is 2 laps down and will be a very good eye. We'll keep an eye on Bennyworth as well, as Stroh, looking to duck down underneath, isn't going to make a pass today, and that could be a cause of concern. Everett starts to pull that back into about 0.6 of a second. He took 0.2 off this lap, but this is still going to be a long road, even with the laps that they're trying to tick off. At this point in time, Everett in second, Barendregt up there in third position, is trying so hard to stay in range. Remember, he had to use his fast repair, and up on that high line was where he got bit as he went on through, so he's got to be a little bit cautious. Those drivers are fourth on back aren't really making any inroads. They're 2 seconds back already, and Ben Bennyworth, a 17.5, is only matching Alex Everett for pace right now in second position. That's trouble. Here comes Dave Steadman, though. He's going to come up on the high side, try and make this move the long way around, and he is still there, and there's not much Nigel Stock can do anything about it. Nigel is going to move down a position, and he will be back now in 6th place with that overtake done by Dave Steadman. Vital points for the team's championship, keeping that one somewhat alive at this point with the championship lead. Ben Bennyworth will be next for him at this moment. So, focus is still very much there. Driving up, trying to get this is Dave Steadman. He can't quite manage the pass, and he will have to stay in line at this moment, trying to get a drive off the exit. This might be his chance now, as it was a little bit slidey from Ben Bennyworth. Down the inside, David Whitehouse down there in the pits right now. His day all but done. And now this is going to be a battle on the inside for Dave Steadman. He looks underneath. He'll move up the circuit. He'll get the pass done, but here comes the up and under, and they're going to bring Nigel Stock back into play. Low line searching for Ben Bennyworth, and he's not going to be able to do anything of it. If he could fall back into line, he would, and that ultimately is a stay as is moment at this point. So They're trying to work their way through. At the front, Alfredo Morales, soon to pick up most points for most laps led. There is Nigel Stock. He can't quite get the move done here on Ben Bennyworth in the fight for 5th place. But now the laps are going to start hurting for these drivers who have just gone off of their restart and tried to get themselves a nice range at this point. Steadman has completely cleared. He's the fastest driver of the front 6 at this point in time. So Steadman on a run at this moment. He's got to get by Jamie Jenkins first, then Timothy Stroh, who will be as gracious can be with teammates, and then he's got to find the way past the top 3. Whitehouse is just coming out of the pits right now, and he's suffering a little bit from blinking, but he's okay. He'll be now 9 laps down as he tries to see whether it's worth making that attempt around the circuit. I believe he'll be diving that one back into the pits and saying, nope, I've got too much damage. My day is done out there on track. But Morales with that 1 second lead. Everett and Barendregt 2nd and 3rd. That is where the focus is going to be pretty much on in the final stages of this race. Coming up towards 20 laps to go here from Iowa, 20 miles to figure this one out. And Thijs Barendregt, don't do anything silly, because this will be a gain for you in the championship. Up high, Everett almost glancing off the barriers, moving into the home stretch. And Barendregt will search low for the first time with a real attempt of trying to get that pass done. But he's not going to find it, and as such, will have to stay patiently in line, hoping that there will be a move later on in this race for him. Steadman's gap, 1.3 seconds, now 1.2 seconds back there as they continue to scrap too wide, trying to get through. Everyone is searching for that magical line. De Grevelier just in front will be lap traffic. Barendrecht's really searching for this one. He gets right up underneath, trying to search. Pass right the call from De Grevelier, and they'll both go high for the first time, trying to get it sorted. Whitehouse's race is over. There'll be another place for De Grevelier on that one. But here comes Barendregt, searching down low for that 2nd position. Can he get it fully clear? He can't. He'll move up the circuit. Just enough room given. Everett on the outside will hold for the Crest Autosport with Apex Trackscar. That's a brilliant defence then, as he just knew what he needed to do, and it's status quo once again. Stuck now is Steadman with Bennyworth and Scott trying to give chase behind. And this is what you fear at a track which is so small as this, that the dirty air gets heavy. And it has been heavy so far. Again, Barendregt on that high side, trying to search. And he still can't find the magical run that unlocks the place. Again, it's a look low. But at this point, you've got to do something. You've got to find anything if you want to make this one happen. There's the view from the back of Alex Everett. Down low, ducking. Then is Thijs Barendregt, who had a little wiggle through the middle there of 1, and that's going to bring him in the wrong position. Steadman trying to put the move down now on Jamie Jenkins, who stays high and actually grabs the wall. Jenkins in the wall. He'll lose track position, which will now put very comfortably down the inside, trying to stay with Dave Steadman now. Mr. Ben Bennyworth. Crucial side-by-side going on still, though, for 2nd as Barendregt keeps it alongside as they run to the line. It's Everett who was clear there by about half a tenth of a second. Again, Barendrecht's trying to get this one on the low line. Again, it doesn't work. The high line is the stronger line, it seems at this point. Here's Stock's look, and behind that, you got 2 laps down versus 1 laps down, as you got, a big squeeze between Dory and Jenkins, the 2 Jamies going at it then together out there on circuit. Some brilliant stuff. Barendregt now trying to force his way up high. Goodness me. Oh, if he can get it done on the extreme high side. Oh, that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible from Thijs Barendregt. But it's not over, because Everett again fights on that low line, almost into the rear tyre. What a move, Thijs Barendregt. That's why he leads the championship. Oh my goodness, what a moment, as now the chase will be on for Alfredo Morales in this race. But how much has that move mattered with Dave Steadman giving chase, and Timothy Stroh right now effectively is going to be using himself as a workhorse. He's a domestique right now for Steadman, as Alex Everett will be there looking at this. The chase of all chases going on. The battle for 5th still continues, of course, between Bennyworth and Nigel Stock, and we are inside the final 10 laps of this race at Iowa Speedway. At this point, Nigel Stock needs that place to move into the top 5. Bennyworth struggles off the exit, and now here comes the chance, moving on to that inside line, trying to take this one away. An answer is calling, and the answer is no, sir, can't get it done just yet. I'll try again on the low side. This time, Bennyworth will start pinching down low, get as much drive off the exit. They're bringing Ollie Peters back into this fight as well, who will be looking to try and move up into the top 5, but he's not quite there just yet. Side by side now. This is getting really awkward for Dave Steadman. He's actually fighting against Timothy Stroh. This is not what you want. They need the coordination, and it's not there, but they have got to the back of Alex Everett who's running that high line. So this ultimately becomes a game of Stroh trying to put in the wrong position Alex Everett in the final stages of this race to give Dave Steadman a chance here. The team's championship is very, very important. Morales is clear by 1.7 seconds. Unless there's a caution, he won't be caught. But as we're coming towards lap 146, any caution between 5 and 2 laps to go will end the race under yellow flag conditions. On the last lap is trouble. Ollie Peters trying to dive up the inside of Nigel Stock. Stock trying to thread the needle and attack. The offense, best offense is there, and he's going to get through the greatest defense, the best offense, and Nigel Stock on the low side is going to get the place on Ben Bennyworth. What a move from Nigel Stock to move into the top 5. Here comes Ollie Peters now searching, and trouble out of 4 for Dave Steadman. He slides the tyres off the exit, almost contact actually with his teammate. Would have caused him to drop down, and that's why he's now fighting for that 4th place. He is not safe by any stretch. It is now 3 laps to go here at Iowa, and the battle for 4th place is not done, because here comes Nigel Stock down on the low side. He suddenly found a little bit of something here today. And what can Arnage find as he now looks to go through in 5th position? Not quite there. Couple of popsicle sticks now, 2 laps to go. Everett trying desperately to chase back Thijs Barendregt here in the final couple of stages of this race. But the white flag about to be taken by Alfredo Morales in the ALP Motorsports machine. They have never had a victory in this series, and they might just be on for one. Great battle coming along, though. Here comes Dave Steadman on the low side. He's searching for that 3rd. He can't get there. Nigel Stock's going to move up high. Here's the battles going through to the checkered flag. Alfredo Morales wins at Iowa Speedway. Barendregt is 2nd, and Nigel Stock's got 3rd. How has Nigel Stock got 3rd? My goodness me, what a steal! Oh, wow! 2 places on the last lap, Nigel Stock. Oh, that is so spirited. Oh, what a drive. Wow, what a race to the end there. All happened coming out there of 2. He got the run. There's Alfredo Morales. Every reason to be excited. He went from spinning on the start of this race, throwing the first caution out, to winning, and that is truly incredible. Let's get confirmation then of the results of this race from a very hectic Iowa Speedway. It is Alfredo Morales who got himself the victory, and did so with Thijs Barendregt just behind. The margin of victory 3.4 seconds in the end, with 2nd being Thijs Barendregt after his incident with Timothy Stroh, the turning point of the championship. Nigel Stock, what a last lap he had, moving and doing just enough, getting 2 places on the last lap and finishing in 3rd. Alex Everett and Ollie Peters will settle for 4th and 5th, with Dave Steadman only managing 6th. It's going to be a great point stall for Crest Autosport. With Apex Tracks, they'll close the gap down. Ben Bennyworth will take 7th position, with Jamie Jenkins, the first driver a lap down, in 8th place. Timothy Stroh, not much he could do. He had to tow the car because the car was completely totaled. That was damage limitation in 9th place for him, with Jamie Dory rounding out the top 10 for Next Gen Racing. Stephen de Gravelier did finish, but he was 17 laps down with a heavily wounded machine. And then the drivers out of the race include David Whitehouse, Leonardo Paletta, and Inigo Martinez in this race. But wow, oh wow, what a race we have just had here, ladies and gentlemen. We've just had some incredible moves late on in that one. Be it Barendregt to take third around the outside, be it Nigel Stock going and getting 2 places in the final couple of corners. Here's a little look at just what made this so good. We're just a lap and a bit back. So this is what you have to do to try and gain these places. He tries to move through on that inside. He manages just about that, as that is Bennyworth then and Ollie Peters. But the chase is going to be on here for Nigel Stock in the final stages then of this race. He really tries to give a drive, and then when he is driving for it, it's going to be a couple laps away, I think. There's Dave Steadman just in front. He absolutely just has to pounce on this, and once he gets to Dave Steadman, just cannot hold off at this point. He has the most amazing final lap of the race. That's the Grevelier down on the bottom that he would have had to have tried to get through. He searches down on the low line and ultimately doesn't quite find it. This is with a couple of laps to go, and then it's about that last lap. And that last lap really does set up for Nigel Stock just how important of a race this is going to be. Moving through 1 and 2 is inauspicious, but it is going to be the drive that he will get, and it's not this lap but the next lap, it's the drive that he gets as this all closes back up together. Then it's going to be a huge moment. So he can see Stroh's trying to do everything to be a nuisance here, try and affect the race against Alex Everett. He gets a mega drive coming off of 2, gets that run, moves past Dave Steadman. He's on that high line though, and as he is, he has got to thread the needle, gets a bit of draft, a little bit of contact there, but it is a drive to the line, and that is why that is an incredible 3rd place finish there for one Mr. Nigel Stock. We are going to jump in with a couple of drives. We're going to bring Thijs Barendregt into the conversation. Thijs, P2 after that did not look possible in the slightest, but somehow you have dodged an almighty bullet tonight here at Iowa.
Yeah, I was just looking back at the incident. I think you were referring to that one. I don't know. I just went high, tried to do it flat out with the cold tires, and I'm very sorry for Timothy. Like, his race pretty much got ruined by it. Like, it's good. It's good for the championship, but it's the way it happened. Like, I would have wished like I could have fought with Timothy, and Friday was insane today. It was really good, and Timothy as well. So it would have been really fun.
Absolutely, it would have been. But let's talk about those final few laps, because you had to do something today to move up to second. It was your old rival from last season, Alex Everett, you were up against. And talk us that move around the outside.
Yeah, I think I was stuck behind him for like 15 laps already, and I was looking for a possibility to pass him down low, up high. I couldn't really get it, and then I saw an opportunity to get closer to him. He kept the low line open, which if you do it correctly is faster than any other line, but it's really hard to do so. So I called back up and then just tried to get him to make a tiny mistake on exit so I could get along and try to run around the outside.
Well,
and he did leave the space, so thanks you, Alex.
Well, the space was left, absolutely, but you know that it's Alex's, or one of Alex's favourite tracks coming up next. It's Kentucky that we're moving to next time out, next week. So how does Kentucky look as now a firm leader of this championship?
It's a very hard track. It's going to be tire management, fuel management, everything. Managing everything. And I think the best position there is either be law, so he can save a lot of fuel, or be in the lead. And everywhere else you're gonna have a lot of dirt here to move your way around. So it's gonna be very hard.
It's going to be a hard challenge, but before we let you go here, Ty, shout out sponsors. Who gets it done for you?
A Rental has done an amazing job last few weeks, and also the rest of the Omega group, so thank you to them.
Back-to-back second places then for Thijs Barendregt then, as he put himself into second for this one. We are going to take this chance to talk with Alex Everett. And Alex, it kind of looks like over those last 10 laps that you've just seen a ghost, because those were two incredible overtakes on you.
Excuse me, Jake, I missed the start of that. Say again.
It looks like you've seen a ghost.
Yeah, ghost of bad luck, maybe. Yeah. I don't know what to say about that finish. Obviously, some people desperate to get a podium, so they just swipe third place out of the way to get it. Yeah, not entirely happy about that. Thijs' move was great. I could have been nasty to him and did to him what he did to me at Kansas, stopping me getting that line, but he got his nose alongside my rear, so I thought, you know what, you've got it there, so I'm going to let you have it. But, you know, some people have got respect for others in this series, there's some people who haven't, it seems, at the moment.
Well, it's always going to be a tough race and a tough battle when you go out there and you try and pick up as much as you can, but you know, you're looking at this in terms of your third place, top two crashed together just above you. Surely you were thinking Christmas was coming all at once.
Yeah, there was a point where I thought probably could have won that race, but credit to Alfredo, he was absolutely brilliant at the front. It's one of those tracks where being in second place is probably the worst place you can be, position-wise, and it seemed to end up like that for me. I just could not catch him. He was able to hook it round the corners in open air really, really well, so credit to him. He absolutely deserves that win today. But it's just one of those days today for me where it didn't happen again for various reasons, so I'm going to have to bounce back again next week at Kentucky. Time's running out to try and get the championship here. I thought I got thrown a bone today with Thijs and Tim crashing out. Thijs got lucky again. He just seems to keep himself on the lead lap with the incidents he's involved in, but other people can't. I don't know how he does it. But going to have to bounce back next week at Kentucky. Time is running out, as I mentioned.
Must be a guardian angel over him or something to that effect. Before we let you go, Alex, shout out sponsors who gets it done.
Huge thank you to you guys for putting on a show yet again. Thank you to you guys for doing what you did, the great recovery of what happened last time at Watkins Glen. Broadcast went up a little later than usual, but it was still a brilliant show, so thank you to you guys. Thank you to Apex Tracks, our main sponsor for the league. The prizes are on their way, I believe, so yeah, looking forward to seeing them. We've got 3 on offer this season, 1 for the winner of the Road Course Cup, 1 for the winner of the Indy 100, and 1 for the winner of the league. So plenty on offer, plenty to get involved in as well, to be a part of winning those prizes. So get involved, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely. Alex Everett there joining us, and 4th place finish, one that he wasn't necessarily expecting. We are going to take this chance now to chat with Nigel Stock, finishing off in 3rd position. Nige, that's a podium. How are you feeling, buddy? Well, hopefully we can get Nigel's mic unmuted at some point in time. I believe it's the only thing we're waiting on here in terms of trying to get him to talk. But outside of that, at the moment, there is not a person, I believe, at this point in time that we do have the ability to have a little bit of a chat or a little bit of a speak to. It would be a shame if we wouldn't get the chance to speak with Nigel Stock at all, but at least for ALP Motorsports, they will have the opportunity to be very happy with the victory that they've got. Alfredo Morales, his first victory in the series, and what a time to do it here at Iowa. Drove brilliantly after his spin to start, and he did very, very well. We are going to try one more time with Nigel Stock here, see if we can get the mic unmuted, and or in Discord, as it were, and get things talking. Nigel, do you have a copy of us, buddy? Unfortunately, that's going to have to be a no for us. So unfortunately, we're going to be unable to talk to Nigel Stock for this one. A real shame. I did want to have a chance to chat. Oh, we just caught him at the right time. At the right time. Nigel, we just saw that. We just saw your mic on mute. How you doing, buddy? Now we still don't hear anything. So we're there. We're halfway there. And living on a prayer, it seems. So I believe we are going to just call this one away. For this one, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to call time here from Iowa. Massive thanks has to go to everyone who has been getting it done, of course. Behind the scenes, the crew at Crest Autosport have been absolutely fantastic again. You can always catch so much amazing racing here from this incredible series. and other series here with Crest Autosport on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. Massive thanks has to go to Apex Tracks, the motorsport and motor racing circuit wall art racetrack sculpture designers who manufacture using Formula One and motorsport-inspired rapid prototyping technologies. On top of that, Track Racer, 603 Autosport, Digital Motorsport, Esports Sim, and the GP Box. They come in along with Uncle Luke's sign and sticker shop. They have been absolutely fantastic in helping us out. 1 week from today, it is Kentucky. Who is going to end up Kentucky Fried and who is going to end up winner chicken dinner? That's going to be the question that will be asked. But the questions out of here are simple. Is this championship already decided? Has this got more twists in the tails? Will we see any more repeat victors? What we do know is Alfredo Morales, from spinner to winner. It's not often that you hear that happen with the Crest Autosport IndyCar Series.